So hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Dan Blake's Life in the Philippines as a photographer. For those of you who have not been on this channel before, I am Dan Blake. I am a professional landscape photographer living in the Philippines, about 5 hours north of Manila. So as I'm walking this morning, I was thinking, which is always a dangerous thing to do, but I was thinking about my last two trips. One was to Boracay about 3 weeks ago, and the other one was to South Korea just last week. And I was thinking why I didn't come away with a satisfying photographic journey, okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, I went on these trips and I had a great time with the people I was with. I made some new friends. I got to see places I've never seen before. So 100% success in that category. But from a photography standpoint, I really didn't come away with any types of shots that moved me, that I'd even want to share with you all. Let me back up. Maybe I got one or two that might be portfolio worthy. I'm still evaluating and I'll share those with you here shortly. But I really wasn't successful on the photography front. And I've been doing a lot of reflection as to, well, why wasn't I? And I've come up with several reasons that I think personally that I failed at, and things that I can do to make the next trip a little bit more successful from a photography standpoint. So with that, I'd like to share those with you, those lessons learned and what I can do better and what to watch out for. And hopefully that might help you in the future with your trips. So with that, let's get into it. So hello everybody, I am in gorgeous Boracay, Philippines, and it's my fourth day here, and it's the first time I've actually recorded anything. A couple reasons for that. One, entirely my fault. I didn't do enough research prior to coming here. I just thought I'd come here, had a couple spots in mind, just from like looking at the web and everything like that. And what I didn't expect was the following. So I didn't expect that I couldn't use my drone. In a lot of places you can't use your tripod either. And as a landscape photographer, that's pretty important, right? So I tried to do some workarounds around that. I mean, let me back up a minute. You can use your drone, you can use your tripod. The problem is you need permits, and you got to go through a little bit of a process, and I wasn't really prepared for that. The other thing was, this is a beautiful, beautiful island. And because it's a beautiful, beautiful island and it's relatively easy to get to, there's a lot of people here. I mean, a lot. I mean, during the sunsets that I went to and the sunrises, I'd say hundreds of people on the beaches on any given day. And of course, that makes it a little bit challenging when you're trying to photograph. So after about a day and a half, 2 days running around the island, I just said, you know what, this isn't the right time for it. And so what I've decided to do is... So I did get these shots, and believe it or not, it was the last night we were there at the hotel. I was sitting in the hotel reception area, and I got it on my iPhone. Not any of the equipment that I brought with me. And it's not the first time I was able to save the day using my iPhone. These iPhones have become so incredibly powerful that if you shoot in RAW, you can do a lot with the photos. This last photo is particularly my favorite. What do you think? So it's 2:37 in the morning, and I am at the Incheon, South Korea airport, which is just in Seoul. And what am I doing here, Dan, at 2:30 in the morning? Well, what I'm doing here is decide to book a last-minute vacation here in South Korea, and booked one of those group deals with a tour guide. So it's about 30 of us all together, going to be traveling around this city for the next 4 days. Okay, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. I am still in Seoul. Just had a nice breakfast. I was kind of hanging out before the tour bus left this morning, hoping that some of this fog would break a little bit. But I am able to, well, I don't know if I am able to. I actually was trying to take some pictures here of some objects close by. It looks like one's a small boat docked in the middle of the bay, and I'm not sure what the name of the bay here. And then there's a bridge in the background, and some buildings and stuff, and an orange crane. And I was just playing with some, maybe, hopefully some abstract shots or something. Maybe get some of that minimalist feel here. But I have a problem, and it's a me problem. And my problem is that when I left for this trip, I wasn't planning on doing like a lot of photography, and it's because of the type of trip I'm on. We went ahead and booked like a tour package. It's a 40-person tour package coming out of the Philippines to South Korea, and it's 4 days, 5-night type thing, and that's great and everything, but it's basically you get up in the morning at 6:30, have breakfast, get on the bus by 8:15, and then just tour around the country all day long, and then come back to a hotel, and that's usually about 8-9 o'clock at night, and I pass out because it's a busy day, lots of walking. Like yesterday, I did 10,000 steps. I was tired yesterday. So the me problem is that when I was packing, I said, you know what, I'm going to go real light with my camera equipment this time. So I decided just to bring my 7CR, which is just a lighter version of my main camera that I usually take, my 7R5, and one prime lens. And I chose the 35mm 1.4 Sony prime lens to take with me. And I normally don't do that. Normally I bring my 24-70 if I'm going to bring one lens. Ideally, I like to bring my 24-70 and my 7200. But I said, you know, I'm going to force myself to use this prime and everything. But I'll tell you, after being here for 48 hours, I really miss my 24-70, and a lot of times, like yesterday, and I'm going to show hopefully some of those photos I took off when I was at the Seoul Tower. It's like one of the highest points in Seoul, and you can see the city below. I might have gotten some good shots. I'll see when I get back to my computer in the Philippines. But I was really wishing I had my 7200, even a bigger lens or teleconverter or something on that thing. And that's been the story of this whole trip, is everywhere I've gone is the focal range of my lens hasn't been big enough. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think all is lost, though. I think I'm going to be able to crop in quite a bit since the resolution on the Sony camera is so great. I might be able to get a couple shots out of here. So the other thing is that because of the fast pace of this itinerary, I can't just bring out this camera and talk to you all on a regular basis, because it takes time, and I don't want the rest of the group waiting for me every time I take some photos, break out the camera and talk to you all. I'm not even sure if you're going to see this. I'm not even sure if I have any shots on any of this stuff, but yeah, we'll see when I get back and I look at everything. I still have 2 more days here, and we'll see what happens. The weather's supposed to be excellent, by the way. Okay, I'll talk to you later. So I struggled with my photography on these 2 trips to Boracay, Philippines, and Seoul, South Korea. I'm just disappointed that I didn't take advantage of all the amazing opportunities that were given to me, and I didn't think outside the box. I didn't keep a positive attitude. I'm just disappointed in myself, and that's why I developed these lessons learned that I'll be going through with you here shortly. But before I get into that, I want to tell you the good news. And the good news is that, I was able to go to two places in this world that I've never been to before and experience that. Boracay, Philippines, which is absolutely amazing, just a beautiful, beautiful island. And then, of course, Seoul, South Korea. And again, just an amazing country. I had an amazing experience there. And then I think maybe even more importantly, well, not maybe, but more importantly, is I got to meet a lot of people and I made a lot of new friends, which is priceless. So, with that, let's get into my lessons learned. So, my first lesson learned is mental attitude. Always maintain a positive attitude no matter what's going on. So, for example, when I went to Boracay, I ran into all kinds of obstacles. I ran into the no tripod policy, no drone policy. A lot of the spots I went to get photographs where the hours weren't conducive to good lighting, like sunrise, sunset. I already mentioned that it's a beautiful place, so a lot of people like to go there, and it gets very crowded. I'm talking hundreds of people on the beaches, and that's okay. But what I should have done instead of giving up so early is I should have looked for other creative compositions. I should have pushed myself outside my comfort zone and just explored my photographic capabilities, and I failed to do that. So my next lesson learned is the ability to adapt and overcome, take control of the situation. So for example, when I was in South Korea, I did find a couple amazing compositions. Even more importantly, the light was just amazing. I mean, how often as photographers do we find amazing compositions and amazing light without even looking for it? It just happened. The problem was that, like I mentioned before, I was with 40 other people. I had a tour bus, a tour guide. We were on a very tight time frame. And I allowed myself just to get pushed along to the next event. And looking back at it, for those two opportunities I have, what I should have done is I should have taken control of the situation. Maybe I should have stayed longer and taken an Uber back to the hotel later that night and skipped the rest of the events for the day. I mean, matter of fact, I wish I would have done that because these photographs were just so amazing. I think they would have came out amazing. So take control of the situation, and if you have to change your plans, change your plans. Be prepared. And this one I should know, and I was not. I think what happened was I took all my gear with me to Boracay, and I didn't use any of it. My best shot was taken on my iPhone. It's this shot right here of the sunset, and I love that shot. I'm glad I had the opportunity, but I didn't use any of my cameras, my lenses, my filters, nothing, tripods. I was up one of my last days in Boracay, and I just happened to be sitting out there by circumstance, and I saw this photograph. Because of that, when I was packing for my South Korea trip, I kind of let that get into my head. I took, one camera body and a 35 millimeter prime, and it was me setting low expectations for myself before I even got there. And also, I think I was being a little lazy because I didn't want to lug all that extra equipment around and everything, which is okay sometimes, but for this trip, it wouldn't have been okay, and it didn't quite work out. So always be prepared. It's better to take a little bit more than you need or you think you're going to need and get those shots that you see when you finally get to your destination. So my next lesson learned is doing the proper research. Now, researching a location, planning your trip, that's fraught with danger sometimes too, because if you overplan or when you get to your location, if things don't go according to your plan, you can get frustrated and you won't be in the moment to create your art. So, but you do have to do a certain amount of research, and at the same time, when you get to your location, if things aren't going your way or going to plan, you need to be able to adapt and move on to something else. So let me give you an example. So when I got to Boracay, I found that there was no tripods, no drones. Also, A lot of people were there, especially during the sunsets and the sunrises. I'm talking hundreds of people, and I wasn't prepared for that. And I think it kind of put me into a negative mood because it wasn't going according to what my expectations were for that. But if I would have researched a little bit, I would have been able to apply for the proper permits. I would have been able to get into some of the locations I wanted to before they actually opened up with permission from the local government. There's things I could have done differently, and also my expectations would have been different, and I think my mindset would have been different as well. So make sure you get out there and you do the research while maintaining flexibility in your planning. And this is probably the most important lesson learned that I can share with you, and that is always embrace the moment you're in. Always have fun with what you're doing. It's probably more important than actually capturing the photos. I mean, life is short. We all need to appreciate where we're at and what we're doing and who we're doing it with. It's probably more important than the photograph you're taking at that given time. So hopefully some of these lessons learned you found valuable. And if you have any recommendations or if you think I missed anything, please let me know. I'm always willing to learn. So finally, I think I did come away with 2 or 3 shots that may even end up in my portfolio. I'm going to show those to you now. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about these photos as well. I'm still evaluating them, and maybe I'll do a future segment on my portfolio. So until then, thank you for watching. I deeply appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe.